welcome to Labor Talks. Today's special guest is Ed Gorell. Ed serves as the membership recruiter of the Wisconsin Farmers Union. Welcome to Labor Talks, Ed.
Thank you.
Good to have you here. Can you tell us a little bit about you?
Okay, I'm Ed Gorell. I'm from south of Eau Claire. I've been there my whole life, 50 some odd years. Grew up on a corner lot on the corner of a farm that my grandfather owned. My parents didn't farm, but I grew up in the involvement of my grandfather's farm. So graduating from high school, you're always looking at something you want to do. So I wanted to go farming, and that was definitely against my parents' best judgment. So I just went out and became a farmhand and worked on a number of various farms, and then ended up marrying my wife, Christy Gorell, who was involved with the calf ranch farm in the area, and we built that business with her parents for the first few years, and then we're out on our own then for the next 35 years. So that's my experience. We raised broiler chickens for 18 years with 3 different companies. We did the AG Co-op out of Arcadia, then we went with the Arcadia Friars Co-op when that merged out of that co-op, and then in the end we were raising for Golden Plump out of St. Cloud. During that time we had a smaller barn that we kept calves in, and we raised veal calves for different companies. We were subcontractors for larger companies. And then eventually when we got out of the broiler business, we went strictly into the calves and did that for feeder cattle, and those calves pretty much were turned into feeder cattle that went on to feedlots in Iowa and Kansas.
Into the beefer farms, right?
Yep, Holstein steers.
Okay. I grew up on a Holstein farm, so.
Okay.
Can you tell us a little bit about Wisconsin Farmers Union and how someone can become a member?
Okay, Wisconsin Farmers Union is definitely not a new organization. We're one of the oldest farm organizations in the country. Basically, 1902 it was formed in Texas. Wisconsin is a division of the National. As far as my title as being a recruiter, all of our members in good standing are recruiters, and I've been around the organization long enough that I have become a District 3 director, so I represent the members that are in Chippewa, Clark, and Eau Claire County, and then I'm also currently serving as the Eau Claire County Farmers Union president. Our membership can include a full membership of voting rights and everything is any person that's 16 years of age, is a member in good standing, pays their dues, they get voting rights, and has allegiance to the United States of America. They can be members of the Farmers Union.
And are you seeing a lot of youth coming in?
We are seeing more new people coming in right now than ever before. They're usually professional people. They have jobs somewhere else, or they're doing other things to support their farm activity. But the local food movement is where it's coming from. People want to know where their food is being grown, where it's being manufactured, how it's being distributed, and that's definitely a new interest, especially in the Eau Claire area here.
I know I'm always looking at the labels, and with the government always trying to take that off, so I can't see where things are made or raised.
That's right.
Can you tell us a little bit about the programs and activities of the Wisconsin Farmers Union?
Wisconsin Farmers Union has a number of activities that we've worked on statewide. One of the things that we have is info sheets. We produce different info sheets for different things that we're doing. Don't got them out here. We produce a newspaper, magazine format, every other month is how we get that information out. Camp Kenwood is our youth activities, and we also have adult education activities, because the Farmers Union is basically a triangle of services that we provide to our members. Education is the foundation, so we try and provide educational opportunities, cooperation with members amongst ourselves and with other groups in the community, and cooperative business endeavors. We're always looking for different ways for cooperatives to form to help consumers and farmers. And then our third area is legislation. We're always trying to work on that.
What legislation are you guys working on right now?
Well, right now we have just come out of convention with our special orders of business. That's probably our top priorities. And dairy policy reform is our first one. And then we have oversight of livestock sighting facilities, CAFOs, confined animal feeding operations. As these farms get bigger, they create more of environmental impact,
Correct.
especially in the townships where they reside. Concentration agriculture, we're working on projects that have to do with monopolization of agricultural suppliers. The suppliers have consolidated so many times now that we're down to 4. 3 of the big seed processors are left, and they're controlling the majority of the industries. The other thing that we're always keeping an eye on, and again is our special order of business, is Badger Care and a Badger Care public option for people to be able to buy into a public auction. And the other thing that is new to me anyway is family farmers shaping climate change policy and what can be done on individual farms to work with climate change. Meat processing infrastructure, most people probably don't think of this too much, but the local meat processors that we had in the area for years and years and years, they've been gone for a couple of decades now. We're pretty fortunate in this area that we've got Augusta Meats in Eau Claire County, and then just across the border in Buffalo County at Mondovi, there's Gunderson Foods. They still do local processing, but again, there's such few plants in the area doing that there's months waiting lists. So, right, so, you get an emergency situation where maybe a cow slips on the ice and you got a broken leg or something like that, you need to process that quickly, you can't be waiting. So, that's another thing we're working on, is if we could get Weed Act loans or, some sort of state program to help develop small meat processors in the area.
Okay. President Trump just recently signed a new North American trade agreement. What issues do you see our government really need to look at in regards to trade and trade agreements when it comes to our American farmers?
Well, I think what we need to probably address to do with trade is just flat out overproduction. We've put ourselves into a situation where farmers are continually having to overproduce to make a living, produce more than we need, and then we rely on foreign governments to be able to buy the excess product, or in this case, we were relying on our own government to be able to facilitate those trades. And
like soybeans with China.
That's correct. And the other thing is it's going to take a long time to build these markets back, because your valued customers have now moved on to someone else that's maybe going to be more reliable in the future. And for our overproduction and our exports to be based on the president's whims or whatever political dealing we're dealing with at the time, that's something that we don't need to be.
How's our trade going, like, between our states? I mean, I see a lot of Idaho potatoes here, where I grew up, and my mom should say is from a part of Wisconsin where we grew a lot of potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
They don't grow a lot of potatoes there anymore. It's mostly crop farms. I grew up in a dairy farm. Where I go back home in Waupaca County, a lot of those family farms are gone, and it's gone to the big corporate farmers. Are they being able to find places to send their products and produces to?
The farms here in Wisconsin? Yes, but again, consolidation of ag is what's driving that. That's why we have the larger producers consolidating in areas where it's either a better climate to produce that particular product or other financial reasons why they would be in those areas.
As I drive across Wisconsin now, I see a lot more crop farms
Yes.
than I ever see dairy farms anymore. And to me,
Yeah.
that's sad. I mean, I was an Alice finalist when I was in college, and I'm a big backer of Wisconsin dairy farms, and not happy when I see happy California cows on my TV.
Mm-hmm.
What needs to be done to help our Wisconsin farm families when it comes to sustainable and renewable fuels?
Well, there's another question that we have here that has more to do with federal government than state. Right now, our president, national president Roger Johnson, stated, and I believe it to be true, that the EPA is acting like a wholly owned subsidiary of big oil. And some of the things that we need to do is enforce our alcohol standards, the 10% mandate that we got on the renewables. The refinery waivers, I think they've been too loose with those. If you're a small refiner and it's too costly for you to put the alcohol in at the refinery, we shouldn't be allowing foreign ownership of those refineries to get that same benefit. If they're a multinational oil refiner here in the U.S., they should not be allowed to get out of that mandate. Conservation practices as far as the tillage, soil conservation is a big one. The other one is third-party ownership of solar panels and processing. We have a program with the state where we work with Northwinds Renewable Energy and Legacy Solar, SPF, Solar Power Farms it's called, and they put together a finance project to be able to get the solar panels on these farms. And again, these are probably a little larger project than a residential would be looking at. If your electric bill is $3,000 to $5,000 a year and up, then you'd probably you may be able to take advantage of these two programs.
I've also, driving across Wisconsin, I also see a lot more of the wind farms too. And if a farmer is turning his farm over to wind farms, then there's that much less production coming out of that farm that way, as far as crops. But
Yep. Wisconsin also imports a lot of our energy, and the transmission lines that bring that in, I think they're probably a big player in that game as that goes on, and anything we can do here in Wisconsin to generate our own power is money that's going to stay here.
Totally agree. Can you tell us a little bit about the dairy price stabilization plan?
Well, what we would like to have for the dairy price stabilization plan is a plan where the farmers would be paying an access fee for the amount of milk that they're currently producing. And any of them that, in the event that the expansion is not necessary, that are expanding, they would be assessed a cost. And the fees would be distributed to the farms that either maintain their production at current level or go lower. This plan could be enacted under the current federal system. They wouldn't need to change anything under the federal marketing system. And it would be totally implemented with farmer dollars, and there would be no government subsidies involved, so the taxpayer would not be involved in a program that would be set up like that.
Who would maintain it or run it?
Well, I guess that's the question out there yet, but it would have to be implemented or ordered by the current federal system that we have within that, and then I would assume that we would get a board of directors or someone to oversee it, if not, to implement all of the policy.
And hopefully people that understand our industry.
Yeah.
All occupations today are in need of an influx of the young to become interested in and commit to careers in particular fields. What type of programs has the Wisconsin Farmers Union found beneficial for this purpose?
Well, we've used the young farmer and rancher programs that are available, but they're severely underfunded. So we put our own funding in to the point that we could do to help implement these. There's other issues that have to do with farm transfer of ownership. If you have a family, mom and dad, 4 kids, and one of those kids wants to farm, traditionally over the years, the farm is gradually bought out by the family member that wants to farm. And what we're running into now is that the family member that wants to farm can't pay the value of that farm, and to gift that, it creates disturbances within the family members. Everybody wants to get their fair share out of mom and dad's farm when it comes down to it, and so the need to get some changes there. I'm not quite sure how to even go about tasking that.
Some type of estate planning or things.
Yeah, there is estate planning, but the bottom line is farmers today need that farm for their retirement, and they need to sell that farm for their retirement in a lot of cases, and they just don't cash flow at what the farms are worth currently.
Well, and our family would be a good example. There were 7 of us kids. We milked 70 head. It was a nice farm. I had 2 brothers. The girls all either married electricians or machinists, and we moved away. The boys, the two brothers, by the time my dad was ready to retire because of his health and whatever, and for them to take over, like you said, they could not afford to buy that farm. And at the time my parents then put it up for sale, nobody could afford to buy a farm that good sized, and so they ended up being split in all these different pieces, including the DNR buying some, because the Little Wolf River ran through our property. And it's really sad when you see that the families can't stay in it. And if they want to stay farming, they go work For some big
Yep.
corporate farm, it's not the same.
Yep. We have done some other things with River Country Resource Conservation and Development Council, the West Central Wisconsin Grazing Conference. These different pasture walks and different educational opportunities, and it kind of falls into Farmers Union's educational thing to team with these people. And there is things that young farmers can get into where maybe they're not going to be a full-time farmer, but they're still going to be able to keep their land and keep it into production. The grazing thing that we've done on this has been well attended, and there's another one coming up here March 21st at Osseo.
Well, and when I was in school too, we had FFA, we
Yeah.
had 4-H. I mean, are those programs seeing a continued life, or are they disappearing?
Well, I guess that's kind of out of my wheelhouse right now as far as what we got for FFA members in Eau Claire County. I would assuming that their memberships are probably down. I know my kids came through the 4-H program, and we had good 4-H activity, but so I can't really speak to that at this time.
I know when I'm driving around the state and I see the nice little corner fixed all up and it's got a 4-H sign on it, I really feel really good about it.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I grew up. But because it keeps kids interested in staying on that farm instead of going to the city and finding something else to do, and teaching them about different projects and stuff so they aren't doing, again, so my brothers wouldn't be farming all the time like my dad did. Maybe there's new ways that they can do it, new things they can look into. And I would hope that the FFA kids are learning those things. Can you go over the high points about your partnership with rural schools and how it helps our family farmers?
I guess we have helped to provide them with tools. One of the things that National Farmers Union does is it develops a curriculum every year that schools could use it. And I'm not a teacher. I don't really know anything about education and students and that sort of thing, but I was digging in National Farmers Union at one point and I ran across that curriculum, and it's got everything laid out necessary to provide the classwork to be done. So the association with that and providing the tools for cooperative education and just the benefits of how cooperatives interact and work in rural communities and can benefit everyone that lives there. The agricultural class funding continues to shrink in our public school system, along with some of the other issues that we have with public funding of our schools. So it's become more important, I guess, for us to try and partner with the rural schools, maybe even more so than we have in the past. So that's something that we're looking at developing more.
Well, and when you've got public schools, you've got public meals with meal supplements for the kids. It would be nice to make sure that the foods that are coming in, the milk, the meats, the things like that, are coming from Wisconsin farmers, not from Canada or California.
Yep.
And I mean, that's one of the things that I know I would like to see more of, is that we're getting backed up by our government that way too.
Yeah, and I think the farm to school program that we've been working on is helping to do that. But it's hard to produce food in an institutional setting on a large volume and deal with local producers. There's got to be some form of wholesaler or something in the middle to put the program together to make it happen, and that's always been the difficult thing in food distribution and processing.
In the last couple of years, you've also seen this where they're saying you can't have raw milk.
Yeah.
Those types of things. I'm sorry, we drank right out of the bulk tank.
Well, yeah, I guess I'm never going to be an advocate for raw milk. That's just not going to happen. There's just too many problems involved with raw milk. We had a standing joke when we were kids that we drink raw milk, but not at the neighbors.
No, right.
You know.
Because I knew how it was, how we
Yeah,
got ours.
and I don't
Grade A
think
farm, so.
I don't think people have the immune system or whatever it is that we grew up with, because we were generational on the farm there. That I just don't think. Yeah, raw milk is not a place to go for the public.
You also have a youth camp, the Farmers Union Youth Camp. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, since back in the beginning, we've kept Camp Kenwood, and here's a flyer on what we do there. Every year, our campers, we provide an educational opportunity, and we have about 300 kids every summer that come through our camp programs. And we teach basically the same thing as our triangle, education, and we do that with cooperative education and then civic engagement. We also teach, how our government works, and
Looks like it's from age 7 on up.
yep, we have started at age 7. We also our camp does outreach, and last year we did one here in Eau Claire at Royal Credit Union, what we call a day camp, and that's where camp staff come out to the local community and put on a day camp, and some of the activities that they do are similar to the ones that are done at camp.
And if somebody wants to register for this or find out more information, where would they go?
I would probably start out at wisconsinfarmersunion.com. That webpage encompasses everything. Camp Kenwood has their own webpage. That facility is also available now for public rentals on the off-camp days, so weekends for weddings, family reunions, and that sort of thing. And that's also on the Camp Kenwood website.
Okay. And it looks like it's relatively affordable.
It's very affordable. We've been getting grants from CHS Foundation, the Senex company, and
it says here too that if you, the $30 for a 1-year membership would be included if they go to this camp, correct?
That's correct, yep. Everybody that comes into the camp and gets registered gets a 1-year membership, so they get to take a look at our magazine, our bi-monthly magazine that we put out, and they get information on the county that they're from, because it's statewide, on what their county and local unions are doing.
And all they need to do is go onto the website to be able to find the information to be able to register.
That would be probably the quickest way to do it. Nowadays, with people with their smartphones and their personal computers and stuff, guys like me are becoming dinosaurs of the industry. I walked into the county meeting the other day, and there was some young people there, and I had my briefcase, and I carry everything in a briefcase, and they kind of chuckled and laughed, and as I sat down, I said, "What's so funny?" And they said, "A 1980s laptop."
And you're doing okay with counselors too? Do you have
Yeah, we have a staff that manages that and runs it, but yeah, they're always looking for applications for students that are going into that field of education, college students, young people to be counselors there.
Are there any scholarships type things available for kids that are really under?
Yes, yep, there is scholarships. My experience with the scholarships is contacting the state office, and then the state office contacts the county president with where the resident is from, and then it usually comes from the local county.
And if somebody wants to find that magazine, is there a place around that they can find it, or online?
Well, I distribute these around wherever I get. Dentist's office, doctor's office, grocery stores. When I come through, I'll actually put them in the racks that are there. Otherwise, it is available online, wisconsinfarmersunion.com.
And it looks like it's nice big colored.
Oh yeah, our communication staff has just been doing an excellent job of getting our message out there, where we've kind of moved forward with messaging, and
Well, I just saw an article about the taxing with the new changes in the tax laws.
yes.
I'm sure that affects a lot of farmers as well.
Yeah.
Okay. What else? Anything else that you'd like to add?
Well, I'd like to add a little bit about what we're doing here in Eau Claire County. Eau Claire County has actually been active for over 10 years. It kind of dropped out of existence for a while. I don't know why. I've tried to find some of the old members, but they're just whatever. So we just picked up and went with it. Eau Claire County, we were the first county to have a Facebook page. And we were the first county to do a number of leading things with technology and computer work. One of the things in Eau Claire County, when we do our local meetings, the past 2 now, we've been at the Artisan Art Place, Skill Shot Coffee Bar, I believe it's called, or for the last 2 times. And then generally we go from one member farm to another, doing tours if they have an activity at a certain time of the year or something, where we would go to there. And on March 9th at 6 p.m. we're going to be at the Glass Orchard on Deerfield Road, which is I, south of Eau Claire here. So at 6 p.m. on March 9th, we're going to have a tour there of what their farm does and what they do, and then we're going to have a county meeting after that to discuss some of the things that we need to have on our agenda.
Okay.
I'm sure that Wisconsin Farmers Union is going to have a booth out at the farm show that's coming up now. Well, it's not the old Mill Center anymore. I believe they changed the name to something else, but that's the location. And then, of course, the 2020 Farm Technology Days is here in Eau Claire County out at Huntzinger's.
Oh, nice.
Silver Springs. So Wisconsin Farmers Union will be there also. But otherwise, any of our members are recruiters. And again, if you're 16 years of age and sympathetic to the policy that we put out, you can be a member for $30. And we do have affiliate memberships, like for businesses that want to be affiliated with us or put their name on us. We have those types of memberships also.
What, do you know what that runs?
The affiliate membership is $50, and the family membership, I believe, is $30. And I do carry all this stuff with me just about all the time. That's one of our membership forms, and you may find them laying around at different events and different places around the community.
Because I know that the Wisconsin Farmers Union has been working with like our some of our union retirees and some other ones, like they did the governor's debate at VFW here in town. Do you have any events like that coming up?
Yes, yes we do. Farmer Share, that's a thing that was put out by National, and basically it's what these food products are and how much the farmer actually gets. That is also available on the webpage. The other thing that I want to put in a good shout out here for right now is this Dairyland Forum. That's going to be in Menominee at the fairgrounds on March 29th, and the presidential candidates have been invited to this. We are looking for RSVPs to attend that event, to kind of keep track of numbers and what's going to go on. There's going to be cheese and brats and drinks after the event. So and again, this is on our Wisconsin Farmers Union.com site also. Yes.
Because I know that there's also been a lot of political issues with the phosphorus issues, especially like in Dunn County, because I went to a listening session there. And in St. Croix County, where I live, there's the Emerald Farms and the pollution issues that are coming up there. So I'm sure that there's things that we need to make sure that people in the area know about, so they can come and listen.
Yes.
So we can find those things also on the website, if there's anything like that coming up.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
So I think that probably about covers. If you got any more questions.
No, I think you've done a really good job today,
Okay.
making sure everybody knows. So other than, how often do you have meetings?
Well, we required to meet quarterly. That's part of our Wisconsin Farmers Union bylaws, is to be an affiliate membership, which Eau Claire County is. We need to meet quarterly, but we've been meeting monthly now. And each month, we don't have a schedule of events per se, but every month at our meeting, we decide where the next meeting is going to be and what information we need to cover. And with the growth that we're seeing in our membership locally, I expect that to continue right straight through the summer months and on in.
And I don't think a lot of people understand or know that the Wisconsin Farmers Union state office is in Chippewa.
Yeah, we've been in Chippewa for almost since the beginning. We actually started out in Superior, was where our original office was, and then we ended up in Chippewa. And we've been there many years. It's on Spring Street.
And if anybody just wants to stop in, is it better to call first, or?
During business hours, you can just stop. Yep. We have receptionists there that can take information, and then executive director is usually around there somewhere.
And you have a new executive director, Julie.
Yeah, Julie Bolmar was hired as executive director here. She's a little over a year now, and she's been doing an excellent job for us. And
Tom Quinn retired.
Tom Quinn's retired now, and
he was a former guest on this show, so we really appreciate.
Yeah, Tom's still active in Dunn County yet. I think he's still on the Dunn County board. And that's the other thing that Farmers Union members, when you, at our convention, we ask for anyone who is on a town board or a county board or a
municipal
local
board, like
to
me.
stand. And it's surprising how many people we have at our conventions that are involved with local politics.
That's good. That's good. Because, the politics are so different for the corporate farms than for the little family farmers, at least from what I grew up seeing. So, but that's today's program. My thanks to our viewing audience and to Ed who made today's program available
Yeah.
or possible.
If anybody has any questions about the Farmers Union or what's going on in politics of farming, they can contact me or the state office.
And my thanks also to those folks working behind our camera screens, who not only make our show possible, but give us an outlet for our working family voices. If, for a final note, Labor Talks is on channel 993 twice weekly. You can also use your favorite search engines, keywords, Labor Talks, Valley Media Works, and find it on YouTube as well, and CBC TV. So that's where you want to look. But thank you for watching today.